This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777, early morning live stream. Just finished doing my daily meditations, and typically they start with a combination of, my mantras for the day, and then followed up with lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Then I go into my Tattwa Shuddhi. Depending on how much time I have, it may get more or less intense. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the things that came to my attention during the meditation, and it had a lot to do with past lives, right? Greetings, Dami. Greetings, Alchemy Gold. Good morning, good morning. Glad to see y'all. It's a beautiful day. It really is. Timon, Timon, greetings, greetings. So, I wanted to title this video, The Past Lives Through Your Past Lives, because it's true. Your old selves, they never go anywhere. They never go anywhere. Life is cumulative, and what that means is that it adds upon itself. It stacks up, right? And that's the true reason and meaning behind evolution. All right, it's got nothing to do with dinosaurs and monkeys turning into men. It has everything to do with the unfolding of reality. All right, so just to kind of get a left brain logical breakdown of this whole thing, within the realm of time and space, there must exist evolution. Outside of time and space, there is no evolution because things are the way they are. When you talk about God and the ultimate reality, and look, you're going to hear me talk about God a lot more, right? It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with Christianity or any of that. It's just the best word that we can use for the ultimate being, right? The ultimate existence. It's the best word that we can use. So when I say God, don't think that I'm getting all religious. That's just the best word I can use, right? So anyways, when we think about God and the ultimate level of existence, it is everything, right? When we talk about the Vedic stuff, we're going to call it Shiva, or we might call it Brahman, right? But the point is, this is the totality of all existence. So with that being said, there's no evolution. There's nothing to evolve. There's nothing to experience, nothing to learn, nothing to grow, because it is everything. So there's layers and there's levels to reality. Directly beneath the level of God, which we might call the causal plane, we might call it the triple blackness of space, or even Kether. Directly beneath that is this prototype reality. And within that prototype reality, it's called the unmanifest, right? And that this is the potential. This is the potential energy and potential expression, potential form. This is the could be. And this includes everything from the spiritual realm to the mental realm to the astral realm, right? Now, directly beneath that is the realm of manifestation. And this is where we have time and space. Now, the lower you go on the levels, the more concrete and firm and solid it gets. But we've got the etheric plane, and then we've got the physical plane. And within those places is where we experience evolution, right? Because, like I mentioned before, at the top of that tree, you've got the totality of everything that can possibly be. But with this thing becoming dense and more dense and more dense, we get to the physical plane, and this is where evolution happens. So when I say that your past lives are cumulative and it's part of evolution, I mean that in every way, right? Now, one surefire test to see if something is an actual thing versus just something made up is to see if it reflects itself in nature, right? Now, past lives, they do reflect themselves in our human nature. See, and I'll be honest, for most of my path, I didn't believe in past lives. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was something people did because they wanted to sound special and cool. Oh, I used to be a queen in Egypt, and all that shit. But I see now. I see now what it is. And look, go ahead and like this video if you're interested in this topic and you want to hear about this. Go ahead and like the video. I see we got 13 people here so far, so I need to be seeing about 13 likes. But yeah, Grand Rising, Tabitha Alexis, Grand Rising. Thank you, Dami. Greetings, Timon, Timon. All right, so check this out. When we talk about past lives, and I said you want to make sure that whenever you're learning about something, that you can find its reflection in nature. That's how you can know it's real, because everything is a fractal and everything reflects in nature. The aspect of past lives, they reflect within our minds, within our consciousness, within our psychology, right? So I was doing my meditations, and almost every time it takes me back to my childhood. Almost every time after I go through my whole process, my whole purification, my whole centering, and all the stuff, it might take me an hour or two or three, depending on how deep I go. But after about an hour, I always go back to my childhood. Every time, it never fails. And I understand, it's because there's parts of our past that we need to come into acceptance of, that we need to experience healing, right? We need to take the light that we have today and bring it to our past selves so that we can heal. That makes us stronger today. Because, like I said, our past lives are cumulative, they add on to our experience today. Nibs Music says, "Did you take Panics class?" No, I did not. But check this out. So I always go back to my childhood during these meditations, and it might be like a random occurrence, it might be something traumatic, it might be something that was fun or delightful or whatever. But, anyways, I went back to a particular time where I was depressed, and I was really trying to be an artist. I was giving everything I had, creating music, creating art, trying to perform in front of audiences who didn't care, putting music out on the internet. No one's listening, not getting any views, but I just knew in my heart of hearts, like, this was the best music ever. You know what I'm saying? And it was. It was. I can still hear a lot of my stuff, uh, you know, being reflected in what's being put out today. And that's not because, I'm some kind of super genius, but it shows that I was tapped into a certain level that has now fully expressed itself in the music scene. But, anyways, the topic of this was about the feelings that I had at that time. I felt unappreciated. I felt like no one cared. I felt like, why did I have this gift, this talent, and it's not appreciated? You know, I, why? So many questions, to the point where I felt like I didn't even want to exist anymore. I don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. Seriously, for a long time. And there was no one to talk to, no counseling, no friend with positive words. I didn't have anybody. I had people saying, "Oh, you're not depressed, you're just bored." I got that from my dad. I got other people saying, "Oh, why are you always talking about that? Let's talk about something else." You know, Legit, all I had was my spiritual practice. All I had was my spiritual practice. All I had was my Bible at the time. I'd be flipping open to different passages, reading Psalms and shit like that, just trying to find some kind of comfort. But, anyways, over time, of course, I did get better. I healed myself of that. But I got to thinking, looking back, I used to look back on those times with regret, with embarrassment, with shame. Like, oh, I can't believe I felt like that. I can't believe, I did that and I wasted so much time. You know what I'm saying? I really looked back and I felt bad about those experiences. But in this meditation today, I learned something. I learned something. I put myself back in that time. I put myself back in that space. And I gave myself love. I gave myself acceptance. I gave myself a hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went back to that time and I said, you know what? I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you did. Everything you went through was not in vain. Everything you went through, it meant something. And if it wasn't for you and your experiences, I wouldn't be here today. If it wasn't for the foundation that you laid, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm grateful for you. And the fact that you existed means everything. Now, that might sound kind of corny, that might sound kind of weird, but I felt the love transference. I felt the love go back in time. I felt things from the aspect of my higher self, understanding that the higher self exists outside of time. Because, like I talked about just a bit earlier, there's a realm that exists outside of time and space, and that realm is closer to God, just as much as the higher self is closer to God, closer than our physical incarnation. So, giving love to my past self, it made me see why, even though I made reckless decisions, even though I did a lot of stupid things that could have got me very hurt, there was always something protecting me. There was always something guiding me and leading me. And I understand. I understand the love that we give ourselves today and in the past. Sometimes it comes from the future. It might sound ridiculous, but like I said, the higher self exists beyond time. So what am I saying with this? What's the point here? If you have memories If you have parts of yourself that you don't quite accept, if you have something in your past that you're embarrassed about or ashamed about or don't understand why it happened, you might notice that today you hold on to it with a lot of regret. You hold on to it with a lot of suffering. You might go back to those times and suffer. But what I want to recommend and maybe encourage you to do is experiment. What if you look back on those times and gave yourself acceptance, gave yourself love, gave yourself what you didn't have? What if you look back on those times and appreciated yourself? How would that affect your being today? If you went back and gave yourself love, how would that change how you behave and think today about yourself? This is something that I want to ask you to consider. Tattwa Shuddhi is a pretty powerful meditation. Absolutely. And if you haven't done it yet, by all means, please, I recommend doing it. Doesn't cost you a thing. Doesn't cost you a thing. But all these memories, all this pain, and all the imbalance is stored within our elements that compose us, the elements that make up our bodies, and the elements that make up our emotions and our mind. And this is proven with Western science. It's proven that we hold pain physically, we hold it in different parts of our body. You know, it makes a tightness in the muscle, it raises our blood pressure, it causes heart problems and all types of different problems. The pain and suffering that we have, we store it in our body. And ancient cultures have been telling us that. It's been telling us that. And this is why Tattwa Shuddhi is so important, because even though we're meditating and visualizing these abstract forms, this is actually cleansing us on a deep emotional level, physical level, and a psychic level. It's important to do this because the parts of our bodies that exist in time and space, the physical and the etheric, these undergo the process of evolution, like I mentioned. And because it's going through evolution, sometimes it collects impurities that need to be cleansed. The same way that your body, regardless if you're working out every day or you're just reading books, you're going to get dirty. So you have to take a shower, you have to take a bath. The same thing for your etheric body. That's why it's so important to perform these cleansing rituals, not because you're trying to make a circle and keep demons away, and not because you're trying to sage the room and keep bad spirits out. No, it's about balancing yourself. It's about harmonizing your inner nature so that you can flow freely, so that the pranic energies that go through your bodies can flow freely, so that you can experience growth. Good stuff, good stuff. I know this is a little bit early. A lot of my audience isn't exactly awake just yet, but like I said, I just got out of that meditation and I thought it might be a good idea to kind of share my thoughts on that. Peace, Lee Marie. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and check out here. I got a whole lot of reading to do. Whole lot of reading. But yeah, just like I said, as far as the past lives go, those older versions of ourselves, whether it was the 20-year us, the 15-year us, the 8-year-old us, they never went anywhere. They're still there. They're still within us. They never died. They just kind of got submerged into your current self. And how do we know this is true? It's obvious, right? You can go to the psychiatrist today. You can go to a hypnotist today, and they can put you under, and you can regress to 5 years old. You can regress to 18. You can regress to 25. You can regress to 30, because those consciousnesses are still existent within your psyche, right? Those versions of yourself, they're still within you. So they still have an impact on you today, right? They still have an impact on you today. I made an example before. When I was a kid, I had traumatic experience with spiders. That me never went anywhere. That's why I still have that knee-jerk reaction whenever I see a spider. Likewise with you. You've got some things that happened to you when you were young, and when something triggers that memory or something happens that reminds you of it, you go back into that state. You instantly go back. So the past versions of ourselves, they still exist within us. They didn't go anywhere, right? They didn't go anywhere. So the same thing, just like that, you can apply that to your spiritual nature. The previous incarnations of your higher self are still contained within your superconscious. super conscious. Just like you've got a conscious mind, you got a subconscious mind, right? Which is all the processes that happen subliminally. Liminal means the line, the threshold, all the processes that happen under the threshold. And then there's a super consciousness, which is the processes that happen above the threshold, right? And this is where your higher self resides. This is where all the past lives, the memories of them and experiences reside. These things can be tapped into as well. Tabitha Alexa says, have you ever confronted a past life through a meditation? I have. It's not something that I've been able to do on purpose yet, but I'm definitely getting towards that because, like I mentioned, all the meditations that I've been doing lately have been taking me back into my childhood, like every time, and I'm not trying to. It's a natural process. So, likely to believe if this trend continues, I'm going to be tapping into something much deeper. Lee Marie says, I can't remember a lot of my childhood, teenage years. I'm definitely going to work on this through meditation. Yes, yes, it's the best way because if we think about it, we're continually bombarded with sounds and distractions and all types of different vibrations that keep us not even in the present moment. We're scattered. But when you take a moment to be still and you practice a routine of stillness, naturally a lot of the things that are unsolved and unbalanced are going to rise up to the surface and you're going to have to deal with them. So it's inevitable if you just cultivate a practice of regular meditation, you're going to start having those memories come back. Jonathan Marquis says, what's a good meditation to heal past memories like you were talking about? Like I mentioned, I would say Tattwa Shuddhi is a great one. Now, Tattwa Shuddhi is a great cleansing for all of your spiritual bodies, right? But as a side effect for me, it has been bringing back a lot of past memories. And I've taken what I already know to do with those past memories. Instead of running from them, I embrace them and I treat them differently than I treated in the past. That's how I did it. But what I would recommend is a meditation called Tattwa Shuddhi. It's one of the most ancient meditations on the planet. Right? It's not something some dude just made up a book about. Tattwa Shuddhi. Somebody put that in the chat for Jonathan, please. Hi Krim says, can you merge your lives into one? Join them in your present self. You can, and I mean, they're already merged. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing anything here. We're just experiencing. They're already merged in your higher self. So instead of trying to do that, which you don't have any instruction on, the best thing to do is to have a connection with your higher self, which you do have instruction on. And when you do that, you'll find that all your past lives are there already. Austin and Walt says, about to do my morning Tattwa Shuddhi practice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. See, I used to do it like every other day, maybe every 2 to 3 days, but now it's every day. Now it's every day. I'm trying to get like Amar. He does it multiple times a day. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so much about the spiritual nature and spiritual processes that we as the general public are misinformed about. We're misinformed because most people aren't going through the process of inner balance to receive the higher teaching. So it's not necessarily hidden by these rich people or powers that be. It's not necessarily hidden because you can get this stuff on Amazon, right? You can get these books everywhere. The information is out there, but we as human beings aren't cultivated to the point that we can receive this information and use it properly. So most people are out here passing out funky information that's useless at best and harmful at worst. Thank you, Tabitha Alexis. Tattwa Shuddhi by Swami Satchisangananda. That's close enough. If you Google it, you'll find it. What's good, King Baphomet? But yeah, bro, if you do care, this is what it looks like. It's an orange book. Like I said, you can find it on Amazon. Should be more than $20. And it's actually really short. But she doesn't waste a single page. She doesn't waste a single sentence. And like I said, this is something tied into a very, very ancient practice, and she's condensed it into a way that's very safe for the Western mind to follow through and get benefit from. No worries, Tabitha. I misspell shit sometimes too. It's all good. The important thing is the intent. Your intent to help. That's what's important. But yeah, I can certainly tell this is going to be a wonderful day. To start it out like this. Now, speaking of Tattwa Shuddhi, for those of you who have been doing it, for those of you who have been doing the practice, you know that at the end of it, you come across the entity known as Prana Shakti. So, what I would recommend is not to blaze through that part. When you get to the part where you do encounter Prana Shakti, pay close attention to what she's holding in her hands. Pay close attention because that symbol of her, it's created in a very intricate and precise way, right? When you look at a lot of these ancient Vedic entities, the Hindu gods and Hindu goddesses, what they're holding in their hands, it's not just because it looks cool. They represent something very real. So what I would recommend is paying attention to what she's holding in her hands. Every time I encounter her, I get a different piece of the puzzle. Now today, one of the things that was revealed is that in both of her sides, you've got the left-hand path and the right-hand path. If you notice on that left-hand path, she's holding the tools of pain, right? The goad. She's holding the tools of the five senses, which is earthly pleasure. And she's holding the tool of the ego, right? The upside down skull. Left hand path right there. And if you look in her right hand path, she's holding the tool of pleasure. She's holding the tool of dharana, focus, concentration. And then she's holding the tool that represents the three gunas, which are the three states of how matter can exist. These are three different paths that one can go through to master one's self. She represents the perfected manifestation of an individual, truly the higher self. So what I'd recommend is when you go through this meditation and you encounter Prana Shakti, pay very close attention. Don't go in there asking for stuff, right? Don't be like, oh, can you grant me money and this, that, and the third. Just be in the presence and just pay attention. Just learn, right? That's going to be the best thing you can do. Take it from me. Take it from me because I tried it the other way, right? I went in there asking questions as opposed to just allowing what I needed at that time to come straight to me. What's good, Philip Boone? Peace, everybody. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're in here. Go ahead and hit that like button because that helps the YouTube algorithm, push my content out there to people who would be interested. And I know there's a lot of you who are subscribed and don't get notifications, so liking the video will help that as well. King Baphomet asks, is she like Kali? Well, truth be told, all of the female goddesses are the same goddess. But indeed, they're each different faces of her, different facets of her. So to answer your question, yes, but also no. She's different because she more represents the life force itself, right? And yeah, you're exactly right. The divine feminine. All the goddesses are the same goddess. Every last one of them. They just wear a different mask or a different face depending on the situation. Again, like I said, to know if something's real, see if it reflects itself in nature. Isn't that how we experience the divine feminine in our everyday lives? Depending on what time of the month it is. You might get Kali or you might get Durga. What's good, D. Hughley? Timon says, what does the trident she holds mean? I always see the trident first. Excellent question. So the trident represents the three gunas, which are the three states of existence, right? The trident represents Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, right? Rajas is a state of activity, of excitement, of passion, right? Rajas. Tamas is a state of inertia, death, decay. Nothing's happening. It's a black hole. It's starting to go down, 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 down. And then Sattva represents the peaceful, balanced unity of both, right? It's the unity, it's the balance, it's sustaining. So you can also look at GOD, generator, operator, destroyer. Generator would be Rajas, operator would be Sattva, destroyer would be Tamas. Not good or evil, just the three different modes of existence. Everything that is existing within the manifested realm is in a state of Rajas, Sattva, or Tamas. Now, what we're doing as spiritual students and occultists, we're trying to remain in a state of Sattva, Sattvic state, because this is how you ascend. This is how you go up. This is how you get higher, right? Not through Rajas, because Rajas can be either excitement or depression, and this is what happens when everyone's watching the news and getting excited and getting depressed. That's not how you evolve. That's not how you reach your higher self. not through Thomas either, which is laziness and decay and, oh, just give me the PDF, right? I'm not going to do any work. I'm not even going to read it. Sleeping all the time. It has to be through the sattvic state, where you're putting yourself in your best possible position. And you can read about all these things because they're older than time itself. There's so much writing on them all. Nib's Music says, did you ever feel scared in those deep meditations? I don't. I choose not to fear. I haven't felt scared in a while, especially in spiritual practice. There's no reason for fear. Fear has everything to do with ego, and ego is attachment to your current position, right? Ego is attachment and identification with what you're experiencing. Now, there have been times when I felt fear. There have been times when I've come across entities that were of a much greater magnitude than I could even fathom, and there was a fear that I would be swallowed up and consumed. But what I've learned is to let go. If I was swallowed up and consumed, then what? I want to see what happens next, right? And when I did that, it helped me reach a new level because I found that I wasn't swallowed up and consumed. It's the fear that causes the trouble. So when you encounter fear, that means push forward. That means push forward because you're coming across a certain gate or a certain level that you haven't been able to cross before. So you just might be making spiritual progress when you cross that threshold of fear. Goodness gracious. All right. Well, I didn't want to make this a super long video at all. So, unless you guys have any questions about anything like that, I'm going to continue reading my books, which I can no longer advertise to the general public. Sorry, guys. I loved giving out all the books, but I can't do it anymore because I'm coming across some stuff that is not meant to be shared. Yeah, I'd love to say more, but I can't. What I will say though is I recommended tons of books that can help get you answers and get you results and get you to that level where you will start receiving the information that isn't for the general public, right? So it's not like I'm special and only me, but there's a certain gate that you'll come to as an occultist when you realize that, and it's also recommended by the powers that be, that you can't share this information, not because it's for the well, it's for the elite, but because it can cause more harm than it causes good, right? So take what I've already recommended, right? Go ahead and take what I've already recommended, and it will get you to a point where you will naturally come across that stuff that isn't public. All right. Yes, yes, yes. And remember also, guys, and I can't help but give away a bunch of shit like this, but magic is not about summoning demons and astral projection. It's more to it than that. Those are tools. Those are parts of the whole game, but that's not the point. The point is to reintegrate your lower self with your higher self, right? Because there's ultimately three stages, like I talked about: the manifest, the unmanifest, and then God. The point is to realign all three of those so that you can become Adam again, so that you can become your supreme self. That's what it's about, right? At that point, of course, all the entities of the universe are going to obey you. Of course, you're going to have good luck and wealth and all the things that we want. Of course, all the things are going to come into play, but that's not even what you're going to be out here for anymore, right? So the point is to align your ego with your higher self with God. And you do that through these spiritual practices. Now, what we have to understand is that the ego that we came in here with, the ego that we've developed and that we've manufactured, is bullshit, right? It's faulty, it's fucked up, it's dysfunctional. It's not going to get you there. And you got to come to a point where you accept that, right? Your ego is trash. Mine was, right? And we go through this process of working on it, rebuilding it, tearing it down and building it back up. Because unless we do that, we're not going to be able to receive the highest vibrations, right? It's just like changing your diet and eating healthy. When you start eating better, you start living better because you are what you eat. If you're continually eating garbage all the time, that your body has no choice but to produce more itself out of that garbage. But when you start to refine and purify your diet, things begin to change for you. So we want to do the same thing with your mind and with your ego. That's why we want to work on, that's why we want to do shadow work. That's why we want to work on the things that trigger us and make us upset, and attachments, and all these imbalances. We want to balance the imbalances, right? Dehugly, dissolve and coagulate. I know you've been reading. I know you've been reading. Exactly. We want to dissolve the shitty ego that we have, and then we want to come to the point that we can coagulate with that higher self. Right? It's a process. It's not easy, and if you think you're there, you're not. Right? It takes work. That's what do the work means. Do the work to correct that ego. And not according to me, not according to somebody else. You know when you're imbalanced, right? You know it. And most of us are in a state of denial. So we fight against it. And this is what I'm talking about, the past lives and going back into my childhood, and healing those parts of myself, because if you don't heal those parts of your childhood, they will continue to have a negative impact on your present life. What I'm saying is true. You can prove it. You can prove it to yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. If you came up with traumatic experiences centered around a certain person, you're going to take that with you and apply it to everybody you meet until you heal it, until you balance it. Alchemy Gold asks a wonderful question. I was wondering, if nothing new under the sun, then why do we have to continue having multiple lives? Well, the body is going to continue to reincarnate because that's what the physical plane is for. It's for this. Now, the thing is, you don't have to incarnate with it. You don't have to be a part of this. You're a part of it now so that you can correct those imbalances. Once those imbalances are balanced, you'll find that you are not going to be reincarnating here anymore. You're going to be appearing in these higher levels. But until you correct the balances, until the higher self works out all of its equations, you're going to be down here in this laboratory working out equations. That's how it is. That's how it's always been. And that's how it always will be. People say Earth is a school. Well, it is. This is where you come to work out those energetic imbalances, because it's all energy. It's not me having a conversation with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it looks like. But in truth, this is a correction of an imbalance. This is a spiritual equation being solved right now. And you're going to take something I said and you're going to apply it to your day, and you're going to find that things change. And that's how it works. You're going to start correcting your own imbalances to the point where you won't have to come back to the school again. Nibs Music says, are the books you're talking about, are they available on Amazon online? Some, but the others come from private collectors. You'll know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of stuff that you can't find. People have to kind of introduce them to you. Alchemy Gold says, I invite you all to join the Magus group to continue your spiritual growth. I invite you as well. It could possibly be the best thing that you have done in the last 10 or 20 years. King Baphomet says, did you read Isis' thesis? No, I did not. Multiverse Speaks says, happy soul awakening day, Travis. Every day. And the gang. Your eyes are so esoterically intoxicating. Eating kale vegetable salad right now. My ego is nearly gone. Salad heals. Yes, yes. And I try not to beat people over the head with diet, because everybody goes at their own pace. I'm not going to judge you. Bacon is delicious. I miss bacon sometimes. I miss chicken sometimes. But I understand, for me to get to the level that I want to go to, there are things that I have to sacrifice. And my biggest leap was when I gave up drinking alcohol a few years ago. I say that because I was an alcoholic. I was drinking every single day, getting drunk, right? I'd go home on my lunch break and get drunk and come back to work. Like, I was that kind of alcoholic. I couldn't stop. But in my spiritual practice, I came to a point where spirit told me, look, if you want to go further, you're going to have to pick. You can keep drinking or you can give it up. And it took everything I had to make that decision, and I never looked back. And my experience has exploded into greater levels. And that happened again once I gave up meat, right? Spirit says you're gonna have to give up meat. And it wasn't cold turkey. First I gave up pig, then I gave up beef, then I gave up chicken, then I gave up fish, and then I stopped eating meat altogether. And I found that after doing that, my spiritual growth has accelerated once more, because the body does play a large part. The body, all of the bodies are connected. The physical, the etheric, the astral, the mental, they're all connected. So it works like a chain. And when the chain is purified, the whole system is purified. So, like I said, I don't try to beat people up because you have to grow at your own pace. And there are some people who, in this lifetime, they're not supposed to give up meat, and that's okay. It's nothing to do with me, But I know that the way that food is manufactured these days is not so good. So that's another reason for me to stop. But mostly it's the spiritual reasons. Jonathan Marquis says, universe loves cycles, so you need to watch them in order to break through. Absolutely. One of the key defining principles of the material universe, her name is Prakriti, one of the key defining factors of her is patterns and cycles. Everything about her is patterns and cycles. Yes. Yes, yes, y'all. So, yeah. Do the work. Do the work. And doing the work doesn't just mean read the books. That's part of it. And also practicing what's in the books and applying it. That's the other part of it. But mostly it's having a clear vision of reality, right? Understanding that right now you're in a state of ego and your body thinks that it runs the show, right? Your five senses think that they run the show. Your five senses, your memories, all these things think that they are God. Doing the work is proving that thing wrong, right? We call that the demiurge. And it's not the real you, it's the false ego. You're not your five senses, and you're not the collection of memories. Those are an aspect of you, but there's a greater part of you that has nothing to do with the five senses. And doing the work is coming to have, have a relationship with that higher self, having a conversation with that self, right? But you got to let go of a lot of things to get there, because there's a lot of things that keep you locked into the ego so that you can't see it. And you know what I'm talking about, right? When you face temptation, what's being tempted, right? You're being tempted to make a decision. And depending on what part of you is stronger, you're going to go this way with the decision or you're going to go that way with the decision. But that's on you. Doing the work is going to help you make the best decisions. Think ahead. Think about everything. Don't just get caught up in the moment and don't just get pushed around by your emotions, because that's called autopilot. And autopilot can be programmed, and it is programmed. Every time you turn on your cell phone and you go scrolling through social media, every time you listen to the gossip, every time you watch the news, every time you listen to your family members and your friends, that's programming. It's keeping you in a certain loop, a certain cycle. That's why everybody talks about the same things. So everybody has these little cliches and these little memes. This is how the human egregore keeps itself alive. King Baphomet says humanity is the true evil. And that's exactly what that means. The autopilot, it's what's called an egregore. It has a life of its own. And that's what I mean by the false self. Unless you do the work to understand that you're greater than just your five senses, you're only being operated through that ego, through that egregore, through that false self, that group mind, the hive mind. And see, certain people with know how to influence the hive mind to make it do stuff. And everybody doesn't influence it in your greatest interest, right? The best thing to influence the hive mind to do is to make it spend money. And that's why we're out here spending our money on things we don't need. But you break out of that. You break out of that by gaining control of those five senses. Greetings, Sunshine Chick. This is a good one. I hope you're able to catch the replay. Speaking of which, I see we got 41 people in here at the moment and 27 likes. If you haven't liked the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and give me a like. That helps YouTube share my video to other people who may need to see it. So thank you. Multiverse Speaks says, what about weed or other psychotropics that induce spiritual gateways? Well, all things as tools are not inherently good or bad. But the problem is, and let's be real, most people use those things and get addicted to them. They use them as a crutch to have an experience in their five senses. They're not using them for spiritual reasons. They call it spiritual, but they're addicted. They're addicted to the sensory pleasure that it provides. There's nothing spiritual about that. What is the best thing to do for your long-term development is to learn how to access those portions of yourself without the assistance of drugs or alcohol or any other type of tool. It's okay to use the tools to kind of give you a boost, but that has to be done with the intention that you're going to leave the tools behind altogether, right? There's things that I used to do before in magic that I don't have to do anymore, right? I keep my stuff basic. Little white tea light candle, you know what I'm saying? I don't get no fancy. Look, I'll show you something. I don't get no fancy candles. I use this right here. You know, I get these things by the 200, 400, 800s because I know I'm going to use the hell out of these things every day. I don't need no fancy candles, fancy incense, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand it's all about the subconscious mind. When my mind sees that flame, I go under like that. It's nothing about the brand or the color or whatever. Those things can help, but you want to get to a point where you need as little as possible, right? And that's kind of hard to do if you need to go buy a substance. Again, no shade or nothing on the people who do, but you want to be honest with yourself and you want to grow to a point where you can be self-sufficient. You're not self-sufficient if you're using something to get you there. Larissa Ross, greetings. Al Dickey, greetings. Good to see you. Monique Green, good morning, good morning. This ego thing is rough. How do you start? You start right now, you start today, you start identifying what is ego. Now look, when I say ego, I'm not talking about the modern definition of it. I'm not talking about you know, how do y'all define ego? I'm not talking about Kanye West, Donald Trump, Gemini ego, Leo ego. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the aspect of your being that identifies with the five senses. The aspect of your being that thinks it is how you look, how you sound, how you smell, how you talk, your achievements and your degree and your accomplishments, your accolades, your relationships. The part of you that defines itself by these earthly terms. That's ego, right? It has this inherent quality of attaching to that stuff and protecting it and guarding it jealously, right? It gets rubbed the wrong way when it feels threatened. It wants to survive. That's not the real you. That is part of this hive mind, right? Just for example, if I say something negative about LGBTQ and you get very mad about that, that's an aspect of ego because it's attached to an identity label. That's not you, that's part of a group, right? That's an identity label. And if you're attached to an identity label, if you feel that someone has threatened that identity label, then you take it personally, right? And the same can be said about, say, Democrats or Republicans or people who are all about melanin. And there's all kind of identity labels that we attach to. And these things are not real. These things are temporary. These things are illusionary. So when you say, how do I start? Take a look at yourself and pay attention to the things that you attach to as far as identity labels. Identity labels. I'm a black man. I'm a southerner. I'm a left-hand path dark magician. All these identity labels. Those are symptoms of ego. And you want to understand how deep you are attached to them, and you want to understand why. You want to ask the questions, why do I feel so passionate? Right? And how can I detach myself from these identity labels? Now, they do serve a purpose and they are useful, but my point is that it's not you. It's not who you are. It's just a label used to categorize things. Justina B says, been up all night and I'm glad I caught your live. I guess sometimes the early worm does get the bird. Yes. Brother Panic always says you haven't reached the real you until you let go of humanity. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. When we say humanity, I'm talking about that ego. I'm talking about these identity attachments. Nibs Music says, what are your thoughts on a soulmate for your spiritual journey? Um, you know, Some people do it. That doesn't. That's. I mean, if you're asking my opinion, that's not really important. You know, because this is about you. This is about you and your journey through this thing, not someone else. There's a lot of relationships out there for sure, and some people do reincarnate together. I have met a few people who came back with me for sure, and I'm working with them right now. But that's not what it's really about. We're just here to help each other find ourselves. It's about finding yourself. And if you're not able to really do that yourself, then you really shouldn't be worried about other people. You know, if you're not able to really come to a place of peace and happiness and self-sustenance on your own, you're not going to be able to find it with someone else. So that's why I say it's less important than actually doing the work on the self. Solar Earth Moon says Grand Rising and Infernal Blessings. Thanks for real talk. My pleasure. Thank you for being here to receive it. Like I said, I went through this meditation and I either usually don't get the impulse to jump online and share it, or usually if I do, I don't get online and share it. So, but today happened to be a good moment right in between where I figured it might be cool to get online and share it because I think it might help somebody. Definitely help me. Thank you, Sunshine Chick. Oh yeah, and also just an update on the app. Still working on it very hard every single day. My day is consumed with this project. They say follow one course until success. Right, that's what focus stands for. Follow one course until success. FOCUS. Greetings, Trinity. And yeah, still working on that. I know I keep saying I'm gonna get the GoFundMe page up, but it's like I'm literally that much into this that I haven't even finished putting that up. But I'm gonna put the GoFundMe page up. Don't forget, your help will definitely be very much appreciated and useful because these things tend to be a bit expensive. And if this is a project that you want to see come to fruition and you support it, you want to be a part of it, please, I encourage you to donate once I put that page up. And also, it's not going to be just donations. If you want to be part of the first class, because there's going to be classes on this app too. If you want to be part of the first class, where I test out some of the things that I have not shared on YouTube yet, because there's a lot. If you want to be part of that, there will be an option for you to sign up for that as well. All right. All right. Monique Green says, I work in a dialysis center. You just don't know. I am at work now, and right now your voice is soothing to my nerves. I'm glad to help. Glad to help. I don't know. There's this real peace right now. You know, I try not to get all wrapped up in the whole Lionsgate thing, but I think there's something to it. I think there's something to it, for sure. Oh my goodness. Follow one course until success. Jennifer Jordan says, this is my first time catching you live. I was led to hear this message. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I really hope that this helped because, like I said, this has helped me. This has really helped me. This felt good. Felt good to share that. All right. Jamal P says, are you coding it yourself? I've singled it down now to two different developers. I think I'm about to make the decision on one. Two different teams. They're working with me to get it how I want to do it. So, yeah. It's not going to be owned by Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. It's going to be my own thing. So, no algorithms, nobody to tell me I can't do this, and none of that. This is going to be a pure channel for pure light. And, you know, I hate to say it, but I think that, you know, the restrictions are kind of getting tighter. So this is coming in the right time because, you know, I would hate to be in a position where I put up information and it's continually blocked, right? Just like how they did my TikTok. It wasn't a week. I got about 5,000 people to follow my account and they just took it all. They just took it off. Banned. It says you are banned from TikTok. I didn't do anything to break the rules. So, you know, I would hate to see that happen more and more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm creating this app so that there will always be a place that I can produce my content without restriction. Damon23 says, do you have Cash App, brother? I absolutely do. Sunshine Chick posted the link just above. Thank you for that. Thank you, Ashe. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Travis, please remember I told you this. Make a donation link on your webpage and accept PayPal payments. It allows us to use the PayPal to pay in 4 payments for a cause we believe in. We'll email. Okay, for sure, for sure. Okay, guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Like I said, this is what I do all day. I'm not going to the club tonight. I'm not fucking around doing this is what I do. I've dedicated my whole life to this. For real, for real. Like I can't stress that enough. So yeah, I'm giving everything I have to help whoever wants the help. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here trying to save the world. No. This is for people who want this information. That's the difference. I'm not trying to beat nobody down the head. I'm not trying to tell people my way is the right way. I recommend books. I recommend strategies, techniques, tips, tricks, and my own experience. You know what I'm saying? I help, to invoke conversation, to ask questions. I offer these different opportunities and options for you to go within. I'm pointing you to you. I have never said in my whole life that I am the way, I am the one. I've never said that. That's not me. This is about you. It's about you. And I do this because people like that have helped me, right? You might see me post something about Bobby Hemmett, but what did he do? Same thing. And he dug through these books, dedicated his whole life. He wasn't getting paid for this. He would travel across the country giving these lectures, talking about what he found in these books and sharing the books, telling you what to go buy if you want the information yourself. And that inspired me because I did the same thing. I went out to buy those books and I got my own revelation. So I figured that's the best way to help do the same thing. You feel me? All right, you guys. This is a great day. I'm feeling awesome. This was wonderful to, you know, commune with you all. Some people want me to keep talking about demons and dark stuff, and that's cool. But like I said, it's not about demons and dark stuff. It's about reintegrating your lower ego with your higher self and with God. It's about connecting with the highest possible vibration of your existence. That's what it has always been about. Coming forth by day. That's what it's always been about. From the origin of India, Mesopotamia, and Kemet, right? From day one, that's what this thing has been about, and the game hasn't changed. Only the players. All right. Anybody telling you anything else? They haven't done enough study and haven't done enough inner work. Y'all all right? Monique Green says, "How did the weight come off?" I gave up alcohol, gave up meat. I really don't eat much because I don't need to. I take my sea moss and I have this green drink. You know what I'm saying? It's got like all the nutrients in it. I'm really thinking about producing my own, honestly. Might sell it online, we'll see. But yeah, I'll grab it. Why not? If you care. Stuff right here. It's basically just a superfood. But yeah, I'm having some ideas of possibly producing my own based on the ingredients that I use for myself. Maybe I can create it with the sea moss in there. But yeah, that's really all I take. I might eat every now and then, but I don't really need much. If you just see the body, we were led to believe that we need like 3 hearty, big ass meals every single day. That's over. We don't need that. We don't need that much food. When you're hungry, your body is crying out for certain nutrients, right? And most of the food that we eat lacks the nutrients. So we're always hungry, right? And there's 2 kinds of hunger that I've noticed within myself. There's a hunger for those nutrients, and there's a hunger for sugar and salt and flavor. So what I've been doing with my fasting is I've mastered that hunger for sugar, salt, and flavor. I've mastered that because I know what he sounds like. I want sugar, I want sweets, I want something sweet, soda, and you start to eliminate all those things from your diet, that voice starts to shut up. And then with the other voice, like I said, the sea moss, it has like 100 plus of the vitamins and nutrients that the body needs. I take that, and then I have my green superfood with my vitamin C and all that other stuff. and I'm not hungry because I have what I need. You feel me? Fruits and vegetables and all that stuff. But thank you. Thank you. Multiverse says Amazing Greens is a great brand. I have the powder. Yeah. Yeah. Just says need iodine also. And CMOS has the iodine, right? But yeah, to answer your question, that's how I lost weight, I suppose. No alcohol, no meat. And at this point, I do a lot of meditation and yoga and that stuff right there. Okay, all right. I got to go for real this time. I got stuff to read. A whole stack of books. Old books that smell like an ancient library. I love it. I love it. This is where I wanted to be, and here I am. Power of manifestation, guys. This is another thing, and go check out the videos that I did during the Focus Challenge. Right? If you haven't seen those, go look at the videos I did during the Focus Challenge a few months ago. They'll say Focus Challenge on the thumbnail, but you can do whatever you want. You really can. You can achieve what you want. You gotta have a clear vision of where you want to be and what you want to achieve in your life. Gotta have a clear vision of it, and then you work backwards as far as planning it out step by step, right? But it starts with having a clear vision, not a vague vision, not, oh, maybe I want to do this. No, get specific with where you want to be. And in your meditations, you sit there and you put yourself in the future. You imagine what you're wearing. Imagine what you're smelling, what you're tasting, right? Imagine the sounds that you're hearing. Put all of it together. Make a sigil out of it if you must. But focus on that thing regularly and you'll begin to manifest ways to bring it about. Tried and true science. Even God uses it. Framestar Films. Peace and greetings, my bro. Peace and greetings. The work be serious business. Amen. All right, everybody. All right, go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to be continuing with the book study of the art and practice of Kabbalah magic. This is going to be chapter 2, I believe. It's going to talk about all the different spheres of the Kabbalah. All right. So we are going to be on that. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you got something of value out of this. Yeah, just stay tuned. The journey continues. Be on the lookout for the app. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. I love you guys. Peace.